What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our two latest book releases, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? Visit our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copies today. Welcome to NFL Game Plan. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our Week 5 preview between the Arizona Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. And we're going to be joined by our football game plan analyst, Teron Davenport, Gene Clemens, and also Chris James. But first, let's start this video off by taking a look at my keys to victory.
Starting with the Cardinals in this ball game, I think they have to remain disciplined in their coverage. The reason being, Matt Stafford has the arm that can stretch the entire field, and he can outthrow coverage, so you have to be disciplined. Don't get lax. Don't get caught looking in the backfield, otherwise he'll make you pay. And I would also slide protection towards Ziggy Ansah, their outstanding pass rusher. Take away their #1 threat coming off the edge, and that way you'll be able to be in better protection for your passing game. And I think this is very important in all football games, but more in particular for the Cardinals in this one versus the Lions. They can't afford a slow start. They have to avoid starting off slow because Detroit, again, has that offense that can match points for points. And if you find yourself getting in a shootout with a team like Detroit, you can end up on the losing end of the scoreboard. Moving on to Detroit in this ball game, the attempts in the running game was most important. Not necessarily the yards, but you have to find ways to get your passing game, your play-action passing game going. So the attempts in the running game has to be there in order for this defense to respect your play-action fake. And they have to be able to communicate up front along that offensive line. I think they're going to see a lot of exotic blitzes, a lot of different stunts coming their way. And if they can't communicate, you're going to see Matt Stafford be under duress like he was last week versus Seattle. And you can't allow the Cardinals to get the edge in the running game, to do a great job with their outside zone, their outside stretch. And if you allow them to get the edge, if you allow yourself to get hooked inside, it could be a long day trying to stop the run of the Arizona Cardinals.
This week versus Detroit is going to be important for the Cardinals secondary to be able to match up versus the different passing concepts they're going to see from Detroit. And I'm going to show you one passing concept the Lions love to run. And if I'm Arizona, I'm playing what we like to call a matchup zone and passing guys off and being in a great position to make a play on the ball. And one of the concepts Detroit loves to do is they love to split these guys right here. We call this a split route. So he's going to run diagonally, trying to split the safety and the corner. Just trying to run almost toward the middle of the goal post right there. And they like to run this tight end on a deep in route. Boom, he's running deep in. We have the shallow cross coming here. And we have a short in route coming here. Now, and sometimes you may want to flare the back out depending on the situation. So if I'm Arizona and I want to be in great position to match up versus this type of concept, what I really want to do is just play off the ball. I know that's kind of like blasphemous for the Cardinals because they love to press. But if I'm playing off, it puts me in a better position to see what's coming and then be able to react, because they do have guys that can react on the football and make a play. So let's say right here on the front side, you have the cornerback just drifting off. Once he sees the in-breaking route, he's now in position to close over top. Why? Because you have this nickel back that's sitting, squatting. He sees a guy breaking across his face, going opposite of where he is. Now he sees the in-breaking route coming, because a lot of times offenses want to break a guy this way and hope this corner or defensive back runs with him because they have someone vacating or replacing where he just vacated. But since he's not going anywhere, he sees the guy running free away from him. He's passing him off. He now can close right there on that in-breaking route. And this is what some like to call a trap defense. But this is how you take away this play here. Now coming front side, you have the backer working up. And if he sees this running back vacate, then that's on him to drive on that running back. But otherwise, he's carrying this deep in route by the tight end because the strong safety is playing over top, which is great. And now what you want to have here is this backer is going to step in the line of sight on this split route by the receiver flashing across the face of the corner, and he's trying to take that away. However, he sees the in-breaking drag. He's closing on the drag, so he takes away the drag route right there. You have the safety playing over top and squeezing in on this split route. Corner can now play what we like to call a trail technique. He doesn't have to play inside. He can play outside because they're bracketing the split route. And as much as I've drawn up here, it's a simple concept. It's about understanding what's going on, playing off the line of scrimmage, seeing what's developing in front of you, and allowing your athletes to be in position to make a play. And we know the Cardinals have tremendous ball hawks at corner and at safety. So I think if they sit back a little bit, watch what's going on in front of them, they'll be in great position to make a play versus Detroit.
Opening up the Lions playbook this game versus Arizona, I think they have to feature their rack guys that are great with the ball in their hands after the catch. You look at Amir Abdullah, the rookie running back, spot shadowed at the top in the passing game, doing a great job making one miss. He can do this on a consistent basis. They also have another guy in Theo Riddick, who I think they need to find ways to get both he and Amir Abdullah in the backfield at the same time. Riddick is a former wide receiver at Notre Dame, moved to running back as well, so he played both. I think that dual threat capability gives him an advantage over linebackers and also some corners. So I think they have to find ways to get those two guys to football. And then finally we move on to the third playmaker with the ball in his hands, Golden Tate, the wide receiver, who was another Golden Domer who also played running back before. So if I'm Detroit, it's not about the deep passing game in this matchup versus Arizona. It's about the ability to make one miss and get yards in chunks. And I think they can do that with a short passing game featuring these guys like Golden Tate, Amir Abdullah, and Theo Riddick in the passing game. Throw short, allow them to make one miss, and then they'll be able to take it deep the rest of the way.
Now we have the Cardinals at Lions. My X factor for the Cardinals is Patrick Peterson. He feels that he's the top corner in the NFL. Here's his opportunity to show what he could do against Calvin Johnson. It's no secret Matthew Stafford will throw that ball up there. Expect Calvin Johnson to go make the catch. Patrick Peterson, this is what you're paid for. This is what makes you the top corner in the league, these type of situations, and you have to come through if you're going to be the top corner in the NFL. Therefore, my X factor for the Cardinals is Patrick Peterson. As far as the Rams are concerned, or the Lions are concerned, my X factor for the Lions is Amir Abdullah in the screen game. Abdullah in space is a very, very dangerous weapon. Cardinals have a very aggressive defense. How do you counter an aggressive defense? You use that aggression against them, allow them to get that penetration, throw the screen, and get the big chunk yardage. That's what they're going to have to do. I do have the Cardinals going into Detroit, beating the Lions, and they're going to win by a score of 23-17.
If I'm Arizona, I need to get back to gang tackling. We're working, if I'm coaching them, we're going to work a lot of tackling drills. We're going to work getting more bodies to the ball. I thought there were a lot of times that we saw St. Louis runners running without anybody attacking them. Todd Gurley was able to do a little bit too much against us in the run game. I want to shore that up to make sure that my defense is as good as it can be. If I'm Detroit, I have to find a way to establish a legitimate run game. I believe that they've made more of an effort to run the ball, but they haven't put their running backs in positions to have much success. So we want to look to establish a viable run game with a couple running backs who are pretty darn good if they're allowed to do what they do best. In the end, I like Arizona to get back to their winning ways, the score to be 24-7.
Now for the home team, the Lions, I'm going to go with starting Golden Tate. Matchups. They're going to try to lock down and even hedge over the top of Calvin Johnson. So Golden Tate can find areas in the zone, operate well, and might get you a 100-yard receiving game. As far as a sit Amir Abdullah. The loss of Eric Ebron in an offense that already didn't have blocking tight ends is going to prove massive in the run game. Even still, I don't expect him to do much in the receiving game either. As far as a start for the Cardinals, I'm going to start Carson Palmer. He looks like the #1 overall pick again. He's not doing anything spectacular. He's just getting the job done and utilizing those weapons he has in front of him. As far as a sit, I'm going to sit Chris Johnson. Again, think that they push the ball down the field more against this Detroit team and try to get points that way. That being said, my sleeper is John Brown, the wide receiver. He'll probably get some big chunk plays against this Detroit Lions secondary. My final score in this one, I have the Cardinals pretty much breezing 28-14.
I like the Cardinals in this ball game. I think Detroit is still a little bit too one-dimensional for my taste, and that'll play right into the hands of an aggressive front seven in Arizona, and also combined with the secondary that they have, I think they do match up well versus Detroit. And as we recap our picks, this is a unanimous vote. We're all going with the Cardinals. I think this will be an exciting matchup to watch because you have the receivers of Detroit going against that secondary of Arizona. And we also want to give a huge shout out to Cardinal fan forums and Lion fan forums for always showing football game plan support.